What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for another week of best bets and props. This time it's for UFC Vegas 61. Mackenzie Dern taking on Xiaonan Yan in the women's strawweight main event at the empty Apex Center in Las Vegas. It'll be mysteriously quiet in there with no media, no fans. It'll be like a 13-fight offering of the Contender Series, which is great since that is now over. It'll be reminiscent of that. So I got 6 moneyline bets on this card so far, 4 favorites, 2 underdogs. I've got a couple props in there as well, 1 prop parlay, and I've got a full progressive parlay I'm going to be playing as well. Mostly because this Saturday, for the first time ever for the group of us, me and a couple of the guys in the YouTube and community were trying to get this going. We wanted to try out a live fight companion stream. So from the second that the fights start on the afternoon of Saturday, I think it starts at 4 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Central time. Once the early prelims start, we're going to be streaming all the way until the end of the main event. It'll be me, JohnnyKPicks, Blood Money MMA Bets, which the channel that's going to host this, and LouBetya. So the 4 of us are going to be, drinking, smoking, shooting the shit, talking about the fights as they happen and trying to watch our money roll in or roll out, in some cases. So yeah, I'm doing a full progressive parlay. I'll be having 6 parlays I'll go over at the end, and we'll see how far we can get in that progression of those parlays. And, if I'm going to lose everything I worked hard for in life, I want it to be down in flames on stream for you guys. So that'll be a fun time. But going over the moneyline bets from earliest to latest, starting with Brendan Allen as the first money line of the night at plus 112. I got him at the highest end of that plus money I could find him at over the weekend for 1 unit on the underdog Brendan Allen. I think he's around a plus 100 now, minus 105 on the money line for Brendan Allen. I just like him as the younger guy at 26 years old. He's faced a high level of competition all throughout his early 20s. In LFA, all the way into the UFC at this point. Only been finished by a couple of guys in the UFC that were on a high level. Krzysztof Jotko, who he's fighting at 185, does just enough to win. He's good counter striker off of his back foot. Crafty striking moving forward, although not the highest output. And I see a lot of people, ranking the wrestling of Krzysztof Jotko as impressive lately, but he's fighting a lot of BJJ players who like to be on their back, so starting to accept some of those takedowns I find in some of his fights. I don't think Brendan Allen is going to accept them that easily unless he's in top position. I think it's going to be a striking battle that Brendan Allen could get the better of, the more damaging strikes, maybe even end the fight at this point. I'm very confident in Brendan Allen to get this done, especially at those plus 112 odds. Up next, and I've got 1 unit on that, of course, at plus 112. Tabitha Ricci up next at minus 185 on the money line for 1.85 units to win 1 over Jessica Penne. Another big age discrepancy here. I think 12 years goes in the favor of Tabitha Ricci. I think Jessica Penne is like 39 years old versus 27 of Ricci. Ricci's just the more polished striker on the feet. She is small, gives up size, but she can close distance pretty explosively. And once she closes that distance with effective striking, she gets those nice, judo throws. She gets good takedown entries and gets the fight to the ground, very relentlessly. So I did see one fight where she seemed to gas out, but then she polished that up in her last couple of fights and looks like she's improving. So again, the younger fighter definitely going to improve. Jessica Penne probably have seen, the better days behind her. So give me Ricci here to win by decision, but I just have that money line at minus 185, although I would still play her at minus 200. Anything past minus 200 on Ricci at this point, I'd probably just look for her decision prop. Next up, I got Mike Davis at minus 170 odds, 1.7 units to win 1. I like Mike Davis. The only thing I don't like about him in this fight is that long layoff since the Mason Jones fight. He has been looking for fights. There's been a myriad of reasons he hasn't fought, but he's in good shape. He's a very strong guy and decently big for the weight class. And against a short notice, Vyacheslav Borshev, who's a kickboxer primarily and got exposed in his last fight for that lack of anti-wrestling. Mark D. Casey took him down like 11 times in that fight, could not get up off of his back, and Mike Davis is a very talented, very athletic striker, but also a very good wrestler too. He's adapted that mixed martial arts wrestling ability, so I think he mixes all skills in to win this fight. I think he can hang with Vyacheslav on the feet. And, both guys are dangerous finishers, but neither guy really finished. So I'm going to take Mike Davis to win by decision, but I just have his money line at minus 170, and I like that price. Next up is Raoni Barcelos at bantamweight to take on Trevin 5-Star Jones. Barcelos is a guy, minus 210 on the money line is where I got him at. paying that price to win 1 unit as I am for all of these. And I just like, again, his wide array of skills. Just like the Mike Davis fight, we've got Barcelos with championship caliber wrestling in his past, championship caliber BJJ in his past, and high output, high volume striking in the UFC over a large sample size, getting way more significant strikes landed on his opponents than he gets hit in return. The opposite is true for Trevin Jones. And I think even as a 35-year-old bantamweight for Barcelos, Trevin Jones nearing the peak of his age in this weight class too. I think he's like 31, 32. Barcelos looks to be a little bit diminished. He did almost win against Timur Valiev in round 1. Fought almost to a draw there against Victor Henry. Victor Henry just a polished, gritty journeyman that really just had his number with the striking volume that night. I think Barcelos has enough left in the tank here to defeat Trevin Jones, who's a very one-dimensional, I'd say knockout punch or bust for Trevin Jones. So I don't see Trevin Jones winning a decision, but I do see Barcelos winning by decision, so I like his money line here. John Castaneda is up next, minus 205 on the money line. This is a money line I screwed up. You can get a much cheaper price on Castaneda in a lot of books. It came back down. I got excited after doing the tape study and deciding he would beat Willie Cat Daniel Santos. This is a catchweight bout now at 140 pounds. I'm not sure why. I have to look into that, but paying the price of minus 205 to win 1 unit, I'm still comfortable with that price. I would bet this up even a little bit higher, but it has come back down. You can get a better number than that, I believe. And this is just a guy who's, we've seen Willie Cat Santos, go up against Julio Arce, who's a very talented guy, but you could see how every single round after round 1, Santos was a little bit less, accurate, even more slow, winding up his shots, telegraphing his big power shots more and more. Castaneda is going to be able to play that Arce game and pick him apart, maybe even go for some takedowns to secure a round. But he might not need to. Arce didn't need to, and Castaneda is not always a willing wrestler offensively, although that would be a good opportunity to just get an easy round here. But I like Castaneda to counter-strike and just outpoint his way to a decision win. And then the last money line, another underdog here in the main event. This is Yan Xiaonan to defeat Mackenzie Dern. Not a popular play this week, but I screwed up the money line on this one too. I took Yan Xiaonan at plus 190. I know you can get up to like plus 195, plus maybe even 200 in the next day or two, but I got plus 190 for 1 unit play on Yan Xiaonan. 5-round fight. I know Dern has fought one time at 5 rounds before. That was last year when she got beaten by Marina Rodriguez. She's coming off of, Mackenzie Dern is coming off of that Tisha Torres split decision win that I don't think she earned. And then she had kind of a lackluster win streak before that. Dern is incredibly dangerous. BJJ world champion. This goes to the mat. It's trouble for Yan Xiaonan. But she has trouble getting it to the mat, Mackenzie Dern. She has to jump and try to pull guard. 9% takedown accuracy, not very accurate. She just always jumps on her opponents, tries to either backpack them or pull guard. And it works oftentimes, but, you're seeing limitations here and there. You saw the limitations against Tisha Torres in her last fight where she couldn't quite get that submission. Even when she had submission attempts for 4.5 minutes, could not land it. Same with Marina Rodriguez last year in their fight, could not get the job done. I think we saw that, the Carla Esparza takedown and beatdown of Yan Xiaonan. That's an elite wrestler in this weight class as Esparza, easily the best wrestler. And then she got a very close split decision loss to Marina Rodriguez, did Yan Xiaonan in her last fight, but that's an elite striker. So she easily won the first round against Marina Rodriguez. Shows incredible boxing. She comes from that Sanda Chinese kickboxing background. I just think that all of the output is going to really outweigh any of the pulling guard and all that nonsense. Close fight, so I'm going to take the plus money, plus 190 on Yan Xiaonan. I think even a finish is possible for, Yan Xiaonan in this fight. Obviously, if Mackenzie Dern wins, I think she wins off of the submission, but, this is a fight where I just think it should be a lot closer than the plus 190 would indicate, and I like that number on her for 1 unit to win 1.9 here in the main event. And I also have a prop parlay. Moving on to some props now. We've got Guido Canetti taking on Randy Costa. I think that's now the first fight of the night. Fight does not go to decision at minus 240. I got a nice low number on that. And then parlay that with Sadiq Youssef taking on Shameless Don Shayness, the short notice debutante. fight does not go to decision in that featherweight fight at minus 200. Parlay together, that's plus 113 odds, 1 unit on that prop parlay. I don't see either of those two fights going to decision. For the Yusuf-Shaynas fight, it's more of like a discrepancy in skill. The Guido Costa fight, it's just because both guys are really, really killer-be-killed fighters. It kind of spells itself. So I'll just parlay those for fun, get some nice plus money on that. Hope they both hit. The next two props are both time props. One of them includes, I'm making this mistake I made last week where I have this, but I jumped on it first. Sadiq Yusuf versus Don Shaynas, the under 1.5 at plus 140, just 0.7 units to win one here. This is a fight where, again, Sadiq Yusuf, 7 of his 14 fights have ended inside the distance. He was supposed to fight Giga Chikadze. Sadiq Yusuf is a dangerous striker here. He knocked out in one round Gabriel Benitez. I think he does the same to Don Shaynas here, who's out of his 15 fights for Don Shaynas, 11 have finished inside the distance. He's making a short notice debut on the biggest fight of his career. I mean, Sadiq Yusuf, I think, was just formerly a top 15 featherweight. I think somebody recently got a win and pushed him out to like number 15 or 16, but he was a top 15 guy just recently, right on the edge, and now he's facing a guy in Don Shaynas who has really no notable wins except for Brian Barberina's brother Kevin. So, yeah, to get plus 140 on that under 1.5, I think Sadiq Yusuf gets this done in round one. If not, Don Shaynas has a lot of round one finishes as well. Dangerous guy, but he needs to get this fight to the ground where he employs ground and pound. I don't think it's that likely, but it covers that, that Hail Mary, puncher's chance for Don Shaynas in his most likely round to get the win. So I like that under. The other under I have is an under 2.5 for Maxim Grishin and Felipe Lins. Again, plus 140 for the under 2.5 here at light heavyweight, 0.7 units to win one. I mean, Felipe Lins, this is really also a play on his just how riddled with injury this guy is. This guy is pulled out of a ton of fights. He's got a bum knee. He's got a really bad chin. He's a wild man early and very dangerous early to knock out Maxim Grishin, but after that, he's got no defense. He can lose this fight early. He can lose this fight late. He can also win this fight early. So I think it covers a lot of ways that Lins would win or lose the fight. Maxim Grishin, a little bit low volume, but he's big enough to counter-strike and end the fight here. For Felipe Lins, he's finished 12 of his 15 wins, and he's been finished in 4 of his 5 losses. I see this guy get hurt a lot. I think Grishin wins, but the under 2.5 to cover both sides. I like that for plus money there. And as I mentioned at the top, my progressive parlay, how this works is I have 6 different parlays. Each one is adding 2 fights to it. So my first parlay is 3 legs. I'll just write it all at the top here. I got Sadiq Yusuf, I've got John Castaneda, and I've got Randy Brown. A 3-leg parlay for plus 108 odds. I have 2 units on that to win. 2.16 potentially, and now the rest of my parlays that I add to this are not going to equal, that 2 units, right? So if I get that top parlay, I'll be profitable 0.36 units. So that's like my break-even top leg of the parlay. After that, I'll be adding things in order of confidence. I'll have the next set of parlays is a 5-leg with Raoni Barcelos and Mike Davis for about 4-to-1 odds, 1 unit on that. The third part of that is going to be Tabitha Ricci and Brendan Allen for about plus 1,300 odds. That's a quarter unit only. Moving on, we'll be adding Yan Xiaonan and Randy Costa for a quarter unit as well. That's going to be something astronomical. After that, we'll have Jesse Ronson and Maxim Grishin, 0.2 units only. And then the last part of that is going to be Julia Stoliarenko and Alexei Oleinik. More plus money on the end. A 13-leg parlay for only 0.1 units. Just a lottery ticket play. Even though it is 0.1 units, that's a lot more than a lottery ticket play. That's a $10 bill. So, and then that's going to be like plus, I don't know, like 100,000 odds or something stupid with 4 underdogs in this 13 legs. So just for fun for the live stream fight companion, I'll have that going. Just see how many legs we can cross off of this parlay. Again, all we have to do is hit that top, Yusuf, Castaneda, and Brown, and we're profitable on this one. But again, if one of those guys, Yusuf, Castaneda, or Brown, loses, everything comes crashing down in this progressive parlay, and we lose something like 3.8 units. So, going killer be killed here in my own right, Randy Costa style on the parlays. But hey, it'll be fun on Saturday. You can watch it crash and burn on stream or succeed and make us rich. So that's all going to be written on the screen. You can actually do this, for any of your picks. You make a pick for each of the 13 fighters on Saturday. And you could just do an order of confidence, just right on paper, rank which one, 1 through 13 you think are confident. You could pair it this way and, never wager more on the rest of the parlays than you would win on that top leg. You'll be good to go. Best case scenario. Anyways, you guys, like the video, hit the subscribe, leave a comment on your favorite bets for this fight, and go subscribe to Cody from Blood Money MMA Bets. And of course, subscribe to the other guys we'll be doing the live stream with on Saturday, JohnnyKPicks, LouBetya from the MMA Engine. Follow all those guys in their socials, and I'll see you guys there. If you're not doing anything, if you're not having an afternoon on Saturday fight party for Yan, Xiaonan, and Mackenzie Dern, I'm sure all of you guys are having fight parties for this wonderful UFC Vegas 61. If not, join us, and we'll be sitting there talking to you guys in chat, just having a good old time. So like the video, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys on Sunday for the recap. Cheers.